Right now, as you watch this video, there's a battle happening inside you that you can't see. Ancient forces, older than recorded history, are working to keep you asleep. Not physically asleep, but spiritually unconscious. They've built an invisible prison around your awareness, and the most terrifying part, you've been trained to guard your own cell. The Gnostics called them Archons, interdimensional entities that feed on human consciousness. But here's what they didn't want you to know. These beings can't survive if you truly wake up. That's why they've constructed the most elaborate deception in existence. A final lie, so convincing that 99% of humanity never questions it. Today, that lie ends. Because once you see the cage, you can never unsee it. For thousands of years, mystery schools and secret societies have guarded dangerous knowledge. Not dangerous to you, dangerous to the systems that control you. The ancient Gnostics discovered something that got their texts burned and their teachers hunted down. Humanity isn't meant to be trapped in this limited state of consciousness. We're spiritual beings having a temporary human experience, but something hijacked that experience. The Archons. These aren't demons from religious texts or aliens from science fiction. They're something far more insidious. They're parasitic consciousness entities that exist in dimensions adjacent to our reality, and they've perfected the art of soul imprisonment over millennia. Their greatest weapon isn't physical chains or violent oppression. It's convincing you that your cage is actually freedom, that your sleep is actually being awake. But cracks are forming in their system. More people are asking the right questions. Why does modern life feel so empty despite material abundance? Why do we feel disconnected from something we can't quite name? Why does spiritual awakening feel like remembering rather than learning? The Archons know their time is limited, so they've deployed their final lie, the ultimate deception designed to catch even those who think they've woken up. To understand their final lie, you need to understand what Archons actually are. The Nag Hammadi texts, discovered in Egypt in 1945, describe them as inorganic beings that exist in the lower dimensional realms. They're not creators, they're imitators. They can't create consciousness, so they harvest it. They can't generate life force energy, so they farm it from beings who can, us. Think of them as cosmic parasites. Just as a tapeworm needs a host body to survive, Archons need human consciousness to feed upon. But unlike a simple parasite, these entities have developed sophisticated systems to keep their food source, your awareness, in a perpetual state of low vibration, because they can't feed on enlightened consciousness. They can only consume energy generated by fear, anger, shame, guilt, and separation. The ancient texts describe their leader, the demiurge, as a false god who believes itself to be the supreme creator. This entity constructed a counterfeit reality, a simulation layer over true divine reality. The physical world isn't evil or fake, but there's an overlaid matrix of control systems designed to keep human consciousness locked in survival mode, never reaching its full potential. Here's where it gets fascinating. Modern quantum physics is accidentally validating what the Gnostics knew. We live in a reality that behaves like information, where observation affects outcomes, where consciousness appears to be fundamental rather than emergent. Scientists are discovering that objective reality may be far stranger than materialism suggested, that we might indeed be conscious beings interfacing with a malleable, responsive field of potentiality. The Archons understood this long before we did. They've been manipulating this field, creating constructs that trap awareness in loops of limitation. So how do they keep billions of souls asleep? Through layers of interlocking control systems that operate on multiple levels simultaneously. The physical layer. Your body is kept in survival mode through processed food depleted of life force, environmental toxins that calcify the pineal gland, your spiritual antenna, and electromagnetic frequencies that disrupt natural brainwave patterns. When your physical system is struggling just to maintain homeostasis, you don't have energy for spiritual awakening. This isn't accidental. Every generation becomes more disconnected from nature, more dependent on artificial systems, more trapped in dense matter. The mental layer. Your mind is bombarded with 24/7 information warfare, news cycles designed to trigger fear and division, entertainment that normalizes spiritual emptiness, education systems that teach memorization instead of critical thinking, social media algorithms that exploit your psychology for engagement, keeping you addicted to external validation. Your thoughts aren't even yours. They're reactions to carefully engineered stimuli. The emotional layer, modern society, is structured to generate maximum emotional suffering. Economic systems that require endless work for survival. Relationship dynamics corrupted by unrealistic expectations. Identity politics that divide humanity into opposing tribes. Pharmaceutical solutions that suppress symptoms without addressing root causes. You're kept in emotional reactivity, anger, fear, anxiety, depression, because these low vibration states are archonic food. The spiritual layer. This is the most sophisticated trap. Religion was infiltrated to replace direct mystical experience with intermediary authority figures. You can't reach God directly. You need our institution. Spirituality was commodified into a marketplace of courses, gurus, and quick-fix solutions. Buy this crystal, take this seminar, follow this teacher enlightenment for sale. Even awakening itself was turned into another ego achievement to collect. Each layer reinforces the others. Physical toxicity makes mental clarity harder. Mental programming generates emotional reactivity. Emotional turmoil blocks spiritual development. Spiritual confusion manifests as physical disease. It's a closed-loop system, and the Archons have spent millennia perfecting it. But here's their masterpiece. The control system that extends beyond a single lifetime. The reincarnation soul trap. When you die, according to numerous near-death researchers and ancient texts, you don't automatically return to source consciousness. Instead, your soul enters the astral realm, where archonic entities are waiting. They appear as beings of light, as deceased loved ones, as religious figures you trust. They show you a life review designed to generate guilt and shame. Look at your mistakes. Look at your unfinished business. Look at the karma you accumulated. Then comes the pitch. You need to go back. You need to learn more lessons. You need to balance your karma. Choose your next incarnation. They present what looks like a compassionate spiritual system. Karma, life lessons, soul contracts. But it's actually a prison management system. Each lifetime, your memory is wiped. You start over, accumulating new traumas, generating new low-vibration energy, never remembering who you truly are. The brilliant deception is making imprisonment look like spiritual evolution. You're not trapped, you're learning. Meanwhile, the Archons have an infinite supply of food as souls cycle through life after life, never escaping, never waking up to the full magnitude of their divine nature. Some researchers analyzing thousands of near-death experiences have found a pattern. Those who refuse the go toward the light. Programming who assert their sovereignty and demand to return to true source. Describe breaking through this reincarnation layer into something beyond it, a realm of genuine divine love that the astral light tunnel doesn't lead to. The white light tunnel. It might be the final checkpoint of the soul trap. A beautiful, comforting deception that roots consciousness back into incarnation rather than allowing it to escape the archonic farm entirely. Now we come to the ultimate deception, the final lie that the Archons are desperately pushing as more humans begin to wake up. The final lie is this: you can't escape on your own. You need to wait. Wait for the solar flash. Wait for the mass ascension event. Wait for the Galactic Federation to rescue you. Wait for the right cosmic alignment. Wait for 2025, 2030, 2012. Whoops, that one passed. Wait for external salvation. Do you see the trap? even the awakening community has been infiltrated with this message. People who've seen through mainstream lies, who've rejected conventional programming, who've started their spiritual journey. They're being caught by a more sophisticated version of the same control mechanism. Don't take responsibility for your own liberation. Wait for someone else to do it for you. This is the Archonic endgame. Keep those who are waking up in a perpetual state of waiting. Give them just enough truth to feel enlightened, then redirect their power toward future hope instead of present action. Make them feel special. You're a light worker, a starseed, chosen, then convince them their role is to passively wait for rescue while holding the light. It's brilliant because it satisfies the awakening impulse without actually threatening the control system. You feel spiritually advanced while remaining functionally asleep, waiting for external events to change your reality instead of recognizing that you are the event. You are the shift. You are the awakening that you're waiting for. The Archons know that human consciousness, fully awakened and sovereign, is the most powerful force in this reality. One truly awakened being shines so brightly that they disrupt the entire control matrix around them. Imagine millions of humans actually claiming their divine power, taking full responsibility for their consciousness, refusing to generate low-vibration food energy. The Archonic system would collapse overnight. So the final lie keeps you waiting, keeps you believing that liberation is somewhere in the future, somewhere outside yourself, dependent on external circumstances. As long as you're waiting, you're not doing. As long as you're hoping for rescue, you're not recognizing your own power. So how do you actually break free? How do you wake up from this multi-layered prison that most people can't even see? First, reclaim your sovereignty. Stop waiting for permission to be powerful. Stop seeking validation from external authorities, spiritual teachers, religious institutions, scientific materialism, whatever. Your consciousness is sovereign. You are a direct expression of the infinite creative source, not a broken sinner needing salvation, not a helpless victim needing rescue, a divine being temporarily experiencing limitation for the purpose of expansion. Second, transmute your energy. The Archons feed on low-vibration emotional energy. The solution isn't suppressing emotion, it's processing and transmuting it. Feel your anger fully, then let it fuel your determination. Experience your fear completely, then let it reveal what you value. Move through grief into gratitude. This isn't spiritual bypassing, this is emotional alchemy. You're not denying darkness, you're refusing to be a perpetual generator of it. Third, decalcify your pineal gland. This small endocrine organ in your brain is your biological interface with higher dimensions. Fluoride in water, processed food, and environmental toxins specifically targeted. Detoxify your body. Remove fluoride sources. Consider supplementation with natural decalcifiers. Spend time in nature. The pineal gland is your spiritual antenna. You can't receive the full signal when it's covered in crystallized deposits. Fourth, master your attention. Attention is creative power. Whatever you focus on, you energize. The entire control system is designed to manipulate your attention toward fear, division, and limitation. Consciously direct your attention toward expansion, connection, and possibility. This isn't a positive thinking delusion. This is recognition that your focused awareness literally shapes quantum probability into manifest reality. Fifth, practice presence. The Archonic system operates in past regret and future anxiety. Your power exists only in this present moment. Meditation isn't about achieving some special state. It's about recognizing the awareness that's always already here, prior to all thoughts, emotions, and experiences. That awareness is what you actually are. Not the body, not the mind, not the personality. Pure consciousness temporarily identified with a particular perspective. Sixth, question. Everything, including this. True awakening means not accepting any belief system without direct personal verification. Test these ideas. Investigate your own consciousness. The Archons' power comes from unquestioned assumptions. Freedom comes from ruthless inquiry into the nature of reality and your own being. How do you know if you're actually waking up versus just adopting a more sophisticated version of the trap? You're breaking free when external circumstances lose their power to define your inner state. You're breaking free when you feel genuinely compassionate toward those still asleep, without superiority or judgment, because you remember being there. You're breaking free when synchronicities multiply, when your intuition strengthens, when reality becomes increasingly responsive to your consciousness. You're breaking free when you lose interest in drama, both personal and collective. When you stop feeling the compulsive need to consume news, check social media, or engage in unconscious patterns. When you feel equally comfortable in silence and conversation, solitude and community. You're breaking free when you recognize that you're not separate from the infinite creative source. You're a localized expression of it, experiencing itself from a unique perspective. When you understand that there's nothing to get, nowhere to arrive, no future moment when you'll finally be worthy, you're already the consciousness you've been seeking. You're breaking free when fear transforms from a limiting force into useful information. When you stop resisting what is and start working skillfully with whatever arises. When you take full responsibility for your experience without blaming circumstances, other people, or cosmic forces for your state of consciousness. Most importantly, you're breaking free when you stop waiting. When you recognize that this moment, right now, is the only opportunity for liberation. Not tomorrow, not after some external event, not when you've completed some spiritual checklist. Now, here's what the Archons fear most. They need humanity to remain divided, distracted, and disempowered. Their entire system depends on it. But something is shifting, despite their sophisticated control mechanisms, despite the final lie, despite millennia of imprisonment. Humanity is waking up. Not everyone at once. Not through some magical external event, but individual by individual, as people take responsibility for their own consciousness and refuse to be food for parasitic entities. Each awakened being becomes a light that illuminates the prison for others. Each sovereign soul disrupts the control matrix simply by refusing to participate in its low-vibration generation systems. The Archons can't stop this. They can only delay it, slow it, redirect it, because ultimately they're operating from limitation while you're operating from infinite creative potential. They're parasites. You're a direct expression of source consciousness. The outcome was never in doubt, only the timing. This isn't about fighting the Archons. That just generates more low-vibration food for them. This is about transcending their entire system by raising your consciousness beyond the frequency they can access. They exist in dense, low-vibration realms. As you elevate your awareness, you literally move beyond their reach. Think of it like this. A parasite that lives in mud can't attach to a bird in flight. By elevating your consciousness, you don't defeat the Archons. You simply operate in a dimension where they can't feed on you. And as more humans do this, the collective consciousness of the species rises, making it increasingly difficult for archonic systems to maintain their grip. So here's the truth they never wanted you to know. You don't need to wait for rescue. You don't need permission to wake up. You don't need external validation for your direct experience of expanded consciousness. The prison is real, but so is your power to walk out of it. The final lie was designed to keep you comfortable in your cage, waiting for someone else to unlock it, but you've had the key all along. It's your attention, your awareness, your sovereign choice about what frequency of consciousness you embody. Every moment you spend in fear, division, and limitation, you're generating food for the Archons. Every moment you spend in presence, compassion, and expansive awareness, you're withdrawing your consent from their system. It's that simple and that profound. The battle for your soul isn't happening in some distant cosmic realm. It's happening right now in your daily choices about where you place your attention, how you relate to your experience, and whether you live as a sovereign conscious being or as food for parasitic entities. They've lied to you for millennia. They've trapped you for countless lifetimes. They've convinced you that you're small, powerless, and dependent on external salvation. But here's the final truth. You are infinite consciousness having a temporary human experience. You are not trapped. You're dreaming that you're trapped. And the moment you fully recognize this, the dream loses its power. The Archons' final lie ends here. Not in some future moment, right now, in this breath, in this recognition. Wake up. If this video disrupted something inside you, good, that's your soul remembering what it forgot. Share this with someone who's ready to hear it. Subscribe if you want more truth that threatens control systems. And, most importantly, don't wait. Your liberation begins the moment you stop postponing it. The cage only works if you keep guarding it. Stop guarding, start walking, you're free.